A long time ago, this man worked as an ordinary teacher. But because of the low salary, he began to punch in the face in the ring for money. Hello everyone, Dr. Fox is with you, as usual, and today I will tell you about the movie Here Comes the Boom. School teacher Scott Foss was late for work. It was impossible to go through the main entrance. There were some, but those are kind uncles, so the man climbed into the classroom through the window. As luck would have it, the director was waiting for him, and because of this he was forced to be on duty on the bus. During the break, the man noticed the rehearsal of the holiday. It was led by Mr. Marty, and Scott came up with an ingenious plan. He asked this grandfather to take care of him instead. The old man was good-natured and agreed. At a general meeting of teachers, Scott tried to ask the girl he really likes out on a date. Her name is Bella, but the girl refused him a second time. The headmaster said that all teachers were being reduced in income, and that Mr. Martin's classes would be cancelled due to lack of money. The man was disappointed because the music club, but that's all he had. Scott stood up for Martin. He said, not to touch the old man, but it was useless. It costs us a lot. Understand that there is no money right now. Scott did not give up. He said he would find fortune in $1,000. This is the amount spent on the maintenance of music lessons. The next day, the teachers wanted to discuss how they would get the money. Only instead of the crowd, only Martin came to the rescue. Scott and Bella. The girl said that you would not succeed. You would not be able to find such a large amount, and the man offered to make a bet. If he throws the ball into the basket, they will go on a date where they will discuss how to take such a lot of money. Bella did not believe in him but agreed. Scott accelerates, makes a jump and misses at the most crucial moment. The man visited Eric's friend to help Marty. He wanted to find a temporary job. A friend refused him, citing the fact that there was a crisis in the world and there was simply nothing to pay his salary with. This did not stop Scott. For the sake of Marty, our hero took additional lessons. Now he teaches the subject of civil law. Students are poorly versed in it. But there was one capable guy, Nick, and Scott agreed to do extra classes with him. He came to the man in the evening, but instead of lessons, guys, we drank beer and watched the fights. It turned out that the student of the main character used to be a fighter without rules, but now works as a coach. The guys watched the fight, and Scott heard that the loser got $10,000. It dawned on him that if some loser got that much money for losing, then I could get the same amount. As a child, Scott practiced courage and thought he would succeed. The man talked about Marty's idea and said he was dropping out of extra classes. Scott agreed to help only Nick, because in return, Nick promised to prepare him for fights without rules. The man put on a bib and helmet and entered the ring as a future champion. A fight broke out. Scott tried to grab his opponent by the legs, but he landed a precise knee blow directly to the head, and the man was knocked out. Bella helped our victim and treated the wound. She said, it was not yours, drop it, you could die. The teacher no longer wants to work for a meager salary. For this fight, our hero received $900. He immediately gave it to the director and asked not to fire Marty. The director replied, I do not want that either, but the school does not have enough money to support music lessons, so that if you want to help Marty, you're going to have to try. The next day, Scott started training with Nick again. The coach taught him various ways of fighting as well as defensive techniques. It has not worked out very well so far, but the guy tried very hard. After all, who else but him is going to help poor Marty save the school club? In the evening, Scott came to visit Marty, but only his wife was at home. The man noticed a lot of musical instruments on the floor and asked if Marty really played all of them. The woman replied, yes, her husband buys them in different stores, arranges, repairs and gives gifts to children who do not have money. Scott was so delighted with this act that it prompted him to help poor Marty, because who better than him? A new duel began. This time, Scott did not leave the track on the first lap, but nevertheless, the technique still needs to be improved. Scott was constantly forgetting about protection. He did not attack and did not use the opportunity to throw, but it does not matter. Even if Scott's fights are funny, nevertheless, everything is still ahead. After the test on the topic The man noticed that a student named Milia had missed 3 assignments. The girl said that her father forced her to leave music lessons and start working in his restaurant. She does not want to leave the lesson because music helped the girl cope with depression. It was the day of Scott's 3rd fight. Marty made him a pulsus, which he made himself. The guys arrived at the arena. The teacher's opponent was a guy with a mohawk, a formidable opponent. Scott, as usual, entered the ring as if he were an immortal hero, but he did not turn out to be a hero in battle. The opponent took him to a painful reception, but because of the end of the round, he did not have time to finish what he started. In the next round, the opponent tried to defeat Scott with a crushing blow to the head, but the man dodged and struck a powerful blow, which brought him victory. Scott finally won. Everyone applauded, and the man, he vomited up the apples he had eaten not so long ago. The next day, the whole school knew about Scott's fight. Because of the sauce incident, the teacher was laughed at. In training, Scott asked Mick to teach him how to attack. He was already tired of defending. The coach took him to the gym to a good sensei, and the man was put on sparring with several fighters. Of course he lost, but he wants to fight more. The coach appreciated the commitment and helped Scott. After classes, the whole club gathered at a common table. The master gave a speech in which he said that Scott deserves respect for the tremendous willpower that he demonstrated today at the ring. The man is pleased with these words, but he dislocated his shoulder.
What's the matter? You don't like my wife's cooking?
Can't lift my arms.
Bella helped our Scott once again and put the joint back in place. The next day, the teacher gave an unusual lesson. He decorated the board beautifully and tried to teach the children something useful, but they did not listen to him. Then Scott decided to stand on the table and draw attention to himself. He calmed the children down and showed his character. Scott is slowly maturing as a fighter. He is no longer afraid of getting hit in the face. He was not a mumbler. His punches were not that weak, and his technique was almost perfect. The man began to win more fights. The money flowed like a river, and the children became interested in the teacher. They looked forward to every lesson taught by their favorite teacher. Bella, by the way, went to dinner with Scott. He made her a delicious sauce. She noticed that in life, Scott is very stubborn, but he quickly gives up in battle. Scott explained this by saying that you do not need to tolerate painful techniques, because you can get hurt. But the girl did not listen to him and joked that he was weak. After class, Scott was approached by a coach. He said that Jorgen invited him to fight in the off. There you can get $1030 for losing. Scott only dreamed of it, but Nick refused Jorgen. He did not think Scott was ready. One day, Nick also went into battle unprepared, got seriously injured, and it ruined his life. He did not want the same thing to happen to our hero. But in any case, the guys agreed, and Scott flew to the fight anyway. In Vegas, the guys had a cool party at the hotel. Bella called. She said that the principal had been arrested for stealing the school money that Scott had been collecting all this time to help Martin. The girl offered him to fly back, but Scott is not going to give up what he started. He intends to go to the end. The most important fight has come. The arena is crowded with spectators. Scott is a little worried, but the guys from this school came on stage. The guys came to support the teacher. Even Bella came with them. Scott entered the cage to the applause of the audience. His opponent was the Smasher. He inspired fear and terror, and looked much bigger than the teacher. In the first few seconds, Scott was hit on the head. The man was confused. He could not answer. Scott was about to be knocked out, but the signal sounded for the end of the round. They told him to defend himself. Man, Scott tried to do it, but to no avail. It is hard to do anything against such a big fighter. Already in the 3rd round, Marty told a friend that he was real, a warrior, and he will succeed. Scott was inspired by this. He remembered everything he had learned. The man parried almost every attack. He lifted the big guy into the air and sent him into a heavy knockout. Everyone was shocked. No one expected that the school teacher would be able to defeat the champion. That's how Scott earned $530 and saved Mr. Marty. With his kindness, he fell in love with the beautiful Bella, and this proved once again that if you do something from the bottom of your heart, then everything will definitely work out.